using data to support answers. By the end of this video, you should be able to understand how you obtain data, how you reference data, how you identify trends, and how you make decisions using data. So why do we need to learn this skill? Put simply, this is a key skill that you need to be able to utilise in many subjects, not just business. This is an area that many students and staff actually say they find difficult to teach and understand. So as a result, I was asked to make this video, and I produced this to provide some support and some guidance on how you can achieve this skill and demonstrate it successfully. Do not expect the decision to always be made for you in life. This is why being able to make decisions using data and looking at trends is really important. So let's start by looking at an example question. So B owns a luxury car showroom that specialises in selling high value sports cars, and B has an average selling price of £100,000 per car. Assess how the economic trends could impact on B's luxury car showroom. So when we're looking at that question, we know that we've got to look for economic trends. So we need to think about what's an economic trend and how do we demonstrate that and the impact it will have. So firstly, let's start by thinking about economic factors. So we need to consider, what do we mean by the term economic factors? And we're talking about interest rates, exchange rates, inflation, and economic growth. Those are all the factors that we need to start to think about and consider. Now, for each one of those factors, we need to think about what is happening, and to do that, we need to conduct some wider research. Now, we could do it in a newspaper, we could get a magazine out, or we could use the internet to help us. So as you can see down here, I've typed into Google UK interest rate. Now, when I conduct that research, you're not always going to find it being really simple. You may have to read more than one website or article to find the actual information you're looking for. You also need to consider, is the source of the information trustworthy and reliable? So for example, look at the first link there, bbc.co.uk. Is the BBC going to be a reliable source? Most probably. So if we click on that, it's a reliable source, and we might have to read the article to find the information that I'm looking for. The second one we've got there, This Is Money. It's a newspaper article. Again, is it reliable? Possibly. However, it may have a bias, and we've got to be aware of that bias that exists. Well, look at the third one. The third one is somebody's website with a live webcast. How reliable is that source going to be? Probably not as reliable as we think. However, it may be useful, and we may find information in there or links in that take us to a more reliable website or build up extra knowledge that we're going to use. Now, when you read the actual article, and this is what people tend not to like doing, but you've got to read the article, you will then hopefully find the information that you're looking for, and it'll be useful information that you can use to make a decision. As you can see here, I found a chart that shows me the trend, the long-term trend of UK interest rates from the Bank of England. And you can see it goes over time from 1976 all the way through to 2016. Now, I've got that chart. I'm going to use that in my answer. Now, I have to make sure I reference it. So what I'm going to do is either write which newspaper it came from, for example, or the title of the book. Or in this case, I'm going to get the web link, as you can see there. I'm going to paste it underneath that chart. It shows the examiner, it shows the person reading the material that it's not your work and you've obtained it. It's not a bad thing to get information from somewhere else. It is plagiarism, though, if you were to try and copy that information and present it as your own. By including that link, you're showing that it's not your work. You're going to reference that work, you're going to use that work, but it's not your work. So, what do we need to do? Well, we're looking for a trend. And what I've done there is I've drawn a trend line on there. And as you can see from the trend line, look at the pattern that you can see there. It's a proof that basically the trend line is showing that interest rates have been on a downwards trend for the last 40 years. That is making a decision using data. I've looked at that data and I've made a decision myself. It's a downward trend. Now I've got that idea of a downward trend, I can start to use that back in my answer. So, think about that luxury car sales business. How does the falling interest rate trend that we've seen impact on a business like Bee's? Well, cheaper loans mean customers are probably going to be able to borrow money with a lower interest rate. Why is that important? Well, typically to buy an expensive car, you're probably going to have to take out a loan or finance to purchase that car. So if the interest rate is getting lower and falling, then it means that borrowing will get cheaper, and it's got to be good for a business like Bees. But then at the same time, why are interest rates falling? Is it a sign of a lack of confidence? And as a result of that, people are not going to be spending money. The Bank of England might be lowering interest rates because it wants people to spend money rather than saving their money. So maybe that's what it's trying to include and trying to encourage, which maybe not so good for B. Of course, I've got to answer the question that's set, and that was, what is the impact on B's car showroom? So I'm going to pick out 2 points. The impact could be that sales could increase because the cheaper interest rates will make the finance or a loan cheaper, which could mean that more customers are going to be willing to buy a high-value car, an expensive car. It could also mean that customers are going to spend their money rather than save their money in the bank. Again, good for B. However, trying to show both sides of the argument here, customers may not be willing to spend their money on luxury items as they may not have that much confidence in the future growth of the economy. This could mean that as a result, B's going to have to lower the price of the car to try and encourage people to buy cars or have some offers to try and attract sales, which obviously would impact on the overall profit margin of B's business. As you can see there, this is a very quick and simple overview of how you conduct that analysis using data and information, and you have to carry out much more research to obviously achieve this task fully, but it gives you an indication of how you go about this process. Don't forget that it's using the knowledge that you understand and thinking critically and applying it to the example. You should now understand this topic and what is being covered in this video. Thanks for checking out the BeeBusinessBee YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the subscribe button down below to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's at BeeBusinessBee. Also, give the Facebook page a like. It's facebook.com/BeeBusinessBee. And lastly, don't forget to check out the online hive of activities found on BeeBusinessBee.co.uk, full of quizzes, activities and resources. And remember, until next time, keep buzzing.